Namaste and Jai Hind, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this super special effort here this Sunday evening. And this special broadcast is around the biggest interview this Lok Sabha polling season. And that is actually setting the election agenda. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking exclusively with the News 18 network in conversation with our group editor-in-chief Rahul Joshi and also my colleagues from News 18 Marathi and News 18 Kannada, Vilas Bade and Hari Prasada A. A 1 hour long conversation, ladies and gentlemen, that will premiere 9 p.m. Monday, 29th of April here across the News 18 network. But what we are doing through 6 p.m. this evening on Sunday is to get you excerpts, perhaps the most newsiest excerpts from a very, very fiery conversation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, no holds barred on very, very strong, hot issues, some that he has himself raked up this polling season. And we get you a glimpse of these explosive portions. The Congress manifesto, for instance. The inheritance tax storm that has led to an escalating war of words between the BJP and the Congress on the campaign trail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterating his stand that the Congress manifesto has the stamp of the Muslim League and the wealth survey is aimed at looting the wealth of one community for the sake of appeasement politics. He has also made it very clear that the BJP will not implement any inheritance tax if it is voted back into power and that it stands against the proposal made by the Congress leader Sam Pitroda, calling it another ploy to snatch the hard-earned money of the common man of Bharat. Watch the full interview Monday at 9 p.m. here at CNN News 18. But for now, we're just playing you some of the excerpts.
आपने जो है राजस्थान में एक रैली में एक कांग्रेस के मैनिफेस्टो पर एक डायरेक्ट अटैक किया। आपने ये तक कहा कि इनका एक स्कीम है जिससे कि ये वेल्थ डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना चाहते हैं, ये पता लगाना चाहते हैं किसके पास कितनी जमा पूंजी है, किसके पास कितना पैसा है, किसके पास कितना सोना है, सिल्वर है, चांदी है, और उसको वो मुसलमानों में और घुसपैठियों में बांट देना चाहते हैं। क्या ये थ्रेट इतना रियल है? क्या आपको ऐसा दिखता है?
कांग्रेस का जहाँ तक मैनिफेस्टो है, कोई मुझे बताए क्या चुनाव के अंदर पॉलिटिकल पार्टियों के मैनिफेस्टो ये कोई शोपीस के लिए होते हैं क्या? सचमुच में तो मीडिया का काम है कि हर एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के मैनिफेस्टो की बारीकी से जांच पड़ताल करे। मैं इंतजार कर रहा था कि मीडिया करे। पहले दिन मैंने एक कमेंट तो कर दिया था
जी,
मैं कोई आज कर नहीं रहा
जी,
कि भाई मुझे मैनिफेस्टो देख करके लगता है कि इस पर पूरी तरह मुस्लिम लीग की छाप है। तो मुझे लगा कि मीडिया चौंक जाएगा, जो एनालिसिस करने वाले चौंक जाएंगे, लेकिन पता नहीं अब उनकी व्यस्तता कुछ और है। मैनिफेस्टो में उनकी तरफ से जो परोसा गया उतने ही गुड़ी गुड़ी उछालते रहे। फिर मुझे लगता भी ये तो इकोसिस्टम का बड़ा मिलीबग लगता है। अब मुझे सच्चाई लेकर जाना पड़ेगा। मैंने काफी 10 दिन इंतजार किया कि देश इस मैनिफेस्टो में जो बुराइयां हैं उसको कोई न कोई, क्योंकि निष्पक्ष तरीके से आता है तो अच्छा है। आखिरकार मुझे मजबूरन ये सच्चाइयां लेकर के आनी पड़ी। अब देखिए साहब, अब उनके एक महाशय ने अमेरिका में इंटरव्यू दे दिया
जी, इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स।
तो इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स की बात ले आए, 55% टैक्स आपकी प्रॉपर्टी। अब मैं विकास और विरासत की बात कर रहा हूँ, ये विरासत को लूटने की बात करते हैं। तो मैं और वेल्थ रिडिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की बात करते हैं, और उनके आज तक का इतिहास है, वो करेंगे क्या? तो फिर मेरी जिम्मेवारी, मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि मैं देशवासियों को बताऊं कि भाई ये इस दिशा में ले जा रहे हैं। अब आप तय कीजिए, जाना न जाना जनता जनार्दन का हक है, लेकिन मेरा दायित्व बनता है कि तथ्य के आधार पर, तर्क के आधार पर, उनकी हकीकतों के आधार पर मुझे बताना चाहिए, वो मैं बता रहा हूँ।
2006 का एक वीडियो जो वायरल हो रहा है जिसमें मनमोहन सिंह जी ने कहा है कि गरीब मुसलमानों का पहला अधिकार रिसोर्सेज पर है, ये उन्होंने साफ कहा है। आपने उसको मैनिफेस्टो में भी ये बात पॉइंट आउट की है कि ओबीसी का ओबीसी रिजर्वेशन का जो है पार्ट लेकर वो मुसलमानों को दे देना चाहेंगे, और 2004 से 2014 के बीच में उन्होंने 4-5 बार ऐसा करने की कोशिश की भी है।
अरे भाई, ये तो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सवाल आपने पूछा है। जरा मेरा जवाब लंबा हो जाएगा, लेकिन
जरूर।
देश के लिए मुझे बताना पड़ेगा।
बताइए।
आप कांग्रेस का इतिहास देख लीजिए। 90 के दशक से ये मांग उठी है देश में। समाज का एक बहुत बड़ा तबका है जिसको लगता था कि हमारे लिए कुछ होना चाहिए, उसके लिए आंदोलन हुए हैं। 90 से पहले कांग्रेस ने पूरी तरह इस बात को खारिज कर दिया, उसका विरोध किया, उसको दबाने की कोशिश की है। यानी 90 के पहले का उनका दशक है। फिर उनको जितनी भी कमीशन बने, जितनी कमेटियां बनाई, उसके भी रिपोर्ट्स ओबीसी के विचार के पक्ष में आने लगे। अब उनके सिफारिशों को भी वो नकारते रहे, रिजेक्ट करते रहे, दबाते रहे। 90 के दशक में उनको लगा कि भाई अब इसको जरा उनकी वोट बैंक की राजनीति के अनुसार उसको टर्न दिया जाए। उन्होंने पहला पाप किया क्या, 90s के दशक में कर्नाटका में उन्होंने धर्म के आधार पर, आपको याद होगा, कर्नाटका में उन्होंने धर्म के आधार पर मुसलमानों को ओबीसी घोषित कर दिया। यानी देश के ओबीसी को नकारना, उस विचार को दबाना, उस विचार को रिजेक्ट करना, लेकिन राजनीति खातर मुसलमानों को ओबीसी घोषित कर देना। केंद्र से कांग्रेस गई, 2004 तक ये प्लान ठप रहा, उनका इरादा पक्का नहीं हुआ। 2004 में वो फिर आए, तो आते ही आंध्र में मुस्लिम को ओबीसी कोटा ये देना तय कर लिया। मामला कोर्ट में जाके उलझ गया। अब ओबीसी के 27% जो आरक्षण में मिला हुआ है, भारत के संसद ने दिया है, संविधान के मूलभूत भावना के प्रकाश में दिया है। 27% शहद लगाने की उन्होंने तैयारी कर दी, डाका डालने की कोशिश की। 2006 में नेशनल डेवलपमेंट काउंसिल की मीटिंग हुई थी, एनडीसी की। मनमोहन जी के बयान पर बहुत बड़ा हंगामा हो गया। 2 साल कांग्रेस पूरी चुप रही। 2009 के घोषणा पत्र में फिर से इसका जिक्र किया। 2011 में कैबिनेट नोट है इसका। 2011 के कैबिनेट नोट में ओबीसी के 27% हिस्सा डाका डाल करके उसमें से मुसलमानों को दे देना उन्होंने तय किया जी। 2012 यूपी चुनाव में भी उन्होंने इसकी एक असफल कोशिश की, फायदा नहीं हुआ। 2012 आंध्र हाईकोर्ट ने इसको रिजेक्ट कर दिया, रद्द कर दिया, कानूनी जजमेंट आ गया। एससी में गए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में गए, वहां भी उनको कोई रिलीफ नहीं मिला। 2014 के घोषणा पत्र में भी धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण की बात कही है, जबकि हिंदुस्तान का संविधान जब बना तब तो कोई आरएसएस वाले, बीजेपी वाले संविधान सभा में नहीं थे। बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर जैसे लोग बैठे थे, पंडित नेहरू जैसे बैठे थे, सरदार वल्लभ भाई बैठे थे, देश के कई महापुरुष बैठे थे। उन सब ने लंबे चिंतन के बाद तय किया था कि भारत जैसे देश में धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण नहीं दिया जा सकता। 2024 के चुनाव में आप देख रहे हैं उनका मैनिफेस्टो, और मैंने कहा इस पर पूरी तरह मुस्लिम लीग की छाप है, यानी मुस्लिम लीगी नीतियां उन्होंने अपनाना शुरू किया। अब ये जो उन्होंने स्थितियां बनाई हैं, मुझे बताइए कि देश के लोगों को ये जिस प्रकार से संविधान की धज्जियां उड़ा रहे हैं, जिस प्रकार से लोग बाबा साहब आम्बेडकर को अपमानित करते हैं, एससी एसटी के आरक्षण पर भी खतरा, तलवार लटका देते हैं, ओबीसी का तो जीना मुश्किल कर देंगे। क्या मुझे देश की जनता को प्रशिक्षित करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए? मैं सभी जो भी विद्वान लोग हैं, जो कलम के धनी हैं, जो निष्पक्ष हैं, उनका ये दायित्व बनता है कि ऐसे समय देश को वो एजुकेट करें, सही चीजें बताएं।
सैम पिट्रोडा जी ने जो है इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स की बात की, जो हम लोगों की जमा पूंजी है, जब हम अपने लोग पूरा बचाते हैं अपने फैमिली के लिए, जब हम उसको अपने आने वाली जनरेशन को देंगे तो उस पर भी टैक्स लगेगा और ये टैक्स बहुत बड़ा टैक्स हो सकता है। तो क्या आप कहेंगे कि बीजेपी अगर आएगी तो इस टैक्स को कभी नहीं लागू करेगी?
भारतीय जनता पार्टी क्या करेगी, हमारे मैनिफेस्टो में साफ हमने लिख करके लाए हुए। अब उन्होंने कहीं सगुफा छोड़ दिया तो मैं भी वो झंडा लेके घूमूंगा, ये सवाल आपके मन में कैसे आ जाता है? जी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की विचारधारा साफ है जी। हम अपनी विचारधारा के आधार पर कार्यक्रमों को लेकर के, मैनिफेस्टो को लेकर के देश के सामने जाते हैं। कृपा करके ऐसे महाशयों के विचारों को हम पर मत थोपिए भाई।
मोदी जी, राहुल गांधी ने एक बात और कही है, वो कहते हैं कि जब वो सरकार अगर उनकी आएगी तो वो एक नेशनल एक्सरे कराएंगे। इसी से जुड़ा सवाल है, इसीलिए मैं पूछना चाह रहा हूँ, एक नेशनल एक्सरे कराएंगे। बात सिर्फ कास्ट सेंसस की नहीं है जो कि वो करते आए हैं, उस पर भी मैं आपका मत जानना चाहूँगा, मगर बात वो कहते हैं इससे आगे है। बात कास्ट की नहीं, बात जस्टिस की है। और वो कहते हैं कि हम जो है एक सोशियो इकोनॉमिक सर्वे लाएंगे, एक इंस्टीट्यूशनल सर्वे लाएंगे और उसमें देखेंगे कि किसके पास किस जाति और किस उस वर्ग के पास क्या है, कितना धन है, कितनी इंस्टीट्यूशंस में भागीदारी है, और उसके बेसिस पर हम इस पूरे सिस्टम को रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे। इसको आप कैसे देखते हैं?
सबसे पहले तो इस देश में जो लोग अपने आप को राजनीति के एक्सपर्ट मानते हैं, जो लोग देश के उतार चढ़ाव को बड़ी बारीकी से अध्ययन करते हैं, सबसे पहले उनका दायित्व है कि वो ऐसे लोगों को पूछे कि जिस परिस्थितियों का वर्णन आप कर रहे हो, अगर ये सही है तो 50, 60, 65 साल तो आपने राज किया भाई। ये मुसीबत के जो जन्मदाता आप हो और आपने अब तक ये बर्बादी लाई क्यों? पहले उनका जवाब मांगो भाई, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, एक्सरे का मतलब क्या है जी? मतलब हर परिवार में जाना, घर घर छापा मारना, अगर किसी अनाज के डिब्बे में किसी महिला ने अपने गहने छपा के रखे हैं उसको भी एक्सरे किया जाएगा, उनके गहने ले लिए जाएंगे, जमीनों का हिसाब किताब किया जाएगा और फिर उसको रिडिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे। ये दुनिया में एक माओवादी विचार ने सब किया हुआ है, दुनिया बर्बाद हो चुकी है। ये पूरी तरह अर्बन नक्सल उस सोच का सीधा सीधा प्रकटीकरण है और इसलिए मैनिफेस्टो आने के 10 दिन तक बाद भी ये जो जमात आए दिन लिखापट्टी करती है ना, वो चुप रही, उनके प्रोटेक्शन में चुप रही है। तब मिलके मेरी जिम्मेवारी बन जाती है कि देश को जगाना कि भाई देखिए आपको लूटने की ये तरकीब हो रही है। और दूसरा पार्ट है, डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी वगैरह उन्होंने हर बार कहा है कि भाई जो भी संपत्ति होगी इस पर पहला अधिकार किसका होगा। तो हिसाब किताब बहुत साफ है, वो क्या करना चाहते हैं।
Rahul Shivshankar, consulting editor, CNN News 18, joins us to weigh in on this excerpt that we have played right now on the inheritance tax and also the Congress manifesto inspired by the Muslim League. But Rahul, the bigger challenge, the Prime Minister says, वो जो जमात है जो उनके इशारों पर चलती है और उनके बलबूते पर चुप रही, within the media he's called out this urban Naxal inspired Jamaat ecosystem which did not talk about the Congress manifesto for 10 whole days. That's why I was forced to speak about it.
Well, Anand, of course, there is the rhetoric, and the Prime Minister is a master of rhetoric, and there are, of course, the facts. So he's drawn upon certain facts. I don't want to sort of get into the conversation of who is an urban Naxal, this, that, the other. It was, of course, a term that was given to us by the UPA. It was a term that they actually brought up, coined, and introduced within a court case in the Supreme Court. But let's not go into labeling. The fact of the matter is that this interview is very critical. It is very critical because if you look at the accusations that have been made against the Prime Minister, the first and foremost one is that you have tried to malign the Congress manifesto, communalize it only after the first phase because you are fearing a loss of support at the hustings. Now, the Prime Minister has taken us back in time and he says, I don't know if you remember, but much before phase one, I had begun speaking about the very convenient linkage between the Congress manifesto and the Muslim League manifesto in the hope that the media would actually awaken to what I was saying, raise the red flag. So immediately he has countered the opposition by saying, don't think that my interjections are in any way derived from a place of vulnerability, i.e. after the first phase, realizing that perhaps the turnout or what have you is not going my way, therefore I am polarizing to bring out the Hindu vote. So first of all, forget that, I had raised the alarm. Now what does he say? The points that he is making, if you really were to read the Congress manifesto, and after this interview I've been going through it line by line with a fine-tooth comb. And if you really look at the Congress manifesto, it doesn't use the word Muslim. There are no binaries. There is no specific references to even the fact that they are going to give a quota within a quota. But in certain clauses, there are enough hints. And what Rahul Gandhi said a day later was inspired by some of these things. So let me just quickly go through these clauses. If you give me about 40 seconds,
Sure.
Anand. Clause 1, and I'm talking about the equity and social justice chapter, pretty much the first chapter of this manifesto after the preamble. Clause 1 says, we will ensure, the word is ensure, please underline it in your minds, we will ensure minorities shall receive their fair share of opportunities, and it goes out to list in what sections and then says that fundamentally it will be done through affirmative action, which is a policy. And when you say you ensure, you have to give it legal fiat.
Yes.
Otherwise, you could have said, we will try, we will aspire to, we will propose, we will ensure is the word that is used. Read that with what Rahul Gandhi said a day after the manifesto in Hyderabad, where he talks about redistributing the resources of the state. Then you take it in conjunction with what the Sachar committee had said. And the Prime Minister talks about quotas within quotas introduced by the Congress, and you take it back to what Moily did, but that was precursor to when the UPA came back to power on its own at the center. Sachar committee report, and I have it here, right here with me, the Sachar committee report was very clear. And it was clear to the extent that it said the third group, now underline what I'm saying, the third group, Dalit Muslims, those with similar traditional occupation as that of the SCs, may be designated as most backward classes as they need multifarious measures, including reservation, as they are cumulatively oppressed. Right after the Sachar committee comes out, the Prime Minister makes his speech. He clarifies, that is the ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Dr. Manmohan Singh in 2006. He then clarifies and stands by his formulation in 2009. Now just look at this trajectory. The trajectory has so altered because the Prime Minister talks also about the Constituent Assembly debates. K.M. Munshi, Congress leader, introduced an amendment that restricted Article 29 to the scheduled castes only, continuing the process of abolishing special rights to minorities, that is Muslims. The presidential order of 1950 did away with reservation for Dalit Muslims. Now this is the Constituent Assembly.
Yes.
Headed by, obviously, the person who drafted the constitution, sitting over a committee was Dr. Ambedkar. Yes, Dr. Ambedkar had at one time talked about separate electorates for Dalits, for the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes,
Right.
and there was also a conversation about perhaps extending it to Muslims, which was done by the British, but under the terms of the Pune Pact, Dr. Ambedkar took a step back and said, okay, we will have reserved constituencies, but there was never after that an expressed conversation about giving Muslims a separate quota, religious lines in our constitution. And as I have read out, these articles by the Constituent Assembly made it very clear that the Nehruvian-driven Constituent Assembly, the Ambedkar-written constitution, and further on, after that, the elected government of Jawaharlal Nehru itself was not in any way favor of giving Dalit Muslims any reservation.
See, the fact
or any
is, the moment you are
favor.
saying
Yes.
you call them Dalit Muslims, then the whole purpose is defeated, because this entire game of conversion has been because they have abused the caste system and said that you embrace an Abrahamic faith and then you will be rid of this entire caste system. But they're now wanting to extend the caste along with bringing in the religion aspect. But the other fact is, would you agree that the Prime Minister has outrightly called the Congress manifesto inspired not just by the Muslim League but also Maoists or Maoism? So this Maoism plus Muslim combined. Now, is this not reflective of the neo-left which is corrupted by Islamists in the West? So is this something which is a continuum, and is it inspired somewhere? Now, are there larger parallels to draw?
Well, in conservative circles, Anand, a new word called Bolshevokism is being thrown about. So it is an amalgamation of the ultra-left sensitivities as well as a communist sort of outlook. And yes, if you were to look at, I don't want to bring in religion here, but if you were to look at this whole business of inheritance tax, that is, fits the description of Bolshevikism, because what does it tell you? And this has been explained, elaborated upon by Kaushik Basu. Who was Kaushik Basu? We're not now talking about Sam Pitroda. Sam Pitroda said what he did. A day later, Kaushik Basu steps up. Kaushik Basu was the CEC, the Chief Economic Advisor, CEA rather, Chief Economic Advisor, Dr. Manmohan Singh, the go-to economist for Rahul Gandhi, who also comes out and says that in any civilized society, we must have inheritance tax. So this is a Congress ecosystem who are the intellectual found, so to speak, of the Congress's uber or super socialist mindset that are speaking one after the other. Does it leave anything more to the imagination?
No, not just
if
that.
If the Congress were to come back, it would turn to some of these economists.
Similar thoughts have been echoed by Mr. Raghuram Rajan also. So Raghuram Rajan, Kaushik Basu are echoing something which was called out by The Guardian and some of the Western newspapers as the rise of this neo-leftist economic theory which wants to democratize all wealth, because that's the one aspect that after Keynes, Marx and Keynes, they did not have an economic answer to capitalism. So this is something which has been brewing since about 2019, 2020, and it's now manifest in 2024. Rahul Shivshankar, thank you very much with your thoughts. So Bolshevikism, Maoist plus Muslim League, this is the larger carpet that the Prime Minister has tried to draw in parallels and said, this is what's happening. My job is to highlight to the voter, if that's what they choose, then so be it. They decide their fate. But I have to do what? He blames the media and said, you did not delve into it, even though I raised the alarm and I drew the parallels even days ahead or a day ahead, day after the Congress manifesto was released, much before phase 1 polls. Ajay Alok, national spokesperson of the BJP with us. Ghanshyam Tiwari, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party with us. Suman Siraman, author and political analyst. And Anand Ranganathan, author with us. Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist, also with us. Namaste and Jai Hind. Thank you very, very much. A Sunday evening, but yes, the Prime Minister has turned all days into working days for all of us. And also thinking days, because we need to put our thinking hats and see, is this now clearly about which way you want to drive Bharat forward, a thought process. So one that hinges around dharmic capitalism, and the other which is clearly, openly espousing Bolshevikism. Dr. Ranganathan. You're on mute. Go ahead, please. Can't hear you, Dr. Ranganathan. Can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Now, yes.
All right. I'm sorry, seems to be some audio problem. I hope it can be corrected. No, good evening, and good evening to my fellow panelists. On this Sunday evening, I went through the interview. It was a fabulous interview, so congratulations on that front. Let me today, for a change, wear my, not just because I'm from JNU, play the devil's advocate and wear my communist hat. Let's say I'm a dyed-in-the-wool communist, and I agree with all the policy proposals of Rahul Gandhi. the wealth redistribution, taking from the people who are generating wealth and distributing it so that no wealth is ever generated. Let's say that policy comes to fruition. Number two, inheritance tax, taking the inheritance or people who've saved so preciously so that their progeny doesn't have to suffer like they have, possibly taking that as well, taxing it. Let's say I agree to that. I have two questions for you, Anand. Assuming that this is a policy and like all other policies, good or bad, it's going to be implemented in India. But the two questions are as follows. Let us say, Anand, you are in charge of your channel. You're the CEO of your channel. It would be in a few years from now. But let's say you are. And you say that, look, we're going through a bad phase and I'm advocating a salary cut. Would you or would you not also cut your salary? It's a simple yes and no question. Or would you just say that your employee salary should be cut, or would you also cut your salary? It's a simple yes and no question, Anand.
Of course, my salary will be cut first.
Exactly. So when Rahul Gandhi is proposing to have a wealth survey, when his most senior advisor is advocating for an inheritance tax, forget about the inheritance tax for the time being. But as far as wealth survey is concerned, do you not think it is weird that Rahul Gandhi himself has not conducted a wealth survey of his entire near or closer family? That would be the first thing that would be done. Say, look, I'm advocating this policy. This policy, for good or for worse, is going to be going to help India in the near future. And just so that I'm absolutely transparent, this is the wealth survey that I conducted of my brother-in-law, my sister, my mother, myself included, and everyone else. Don't you think that's the first criteria? Now, I want to ask the people who are sympathetic towards the Congress, why on earth has Rahul Gandhi not done this? It's a simple question. Ask this, Anand.
Sumant Raman.
Anand, can I just make one very fundamental point? There is a Congress president, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, who has requested an appointment for him to go meet the Prime Minister and explain what this manifesto actually means, right? The simplest way, instead of saying that this is what it must mean, actually in 1998 they did this, so they will do this only. All of it is speculation. Why can't you just give the man an appointment? Let him come sit across the table, let him explain to you, this is what we plan to do. He has very clearly requested, kindly do not say things which are not in our manifesto. I am ready to explain. Now, I fail to see how the Prime Minister cannot spare 20 minutes to listen to Mr. Kharge. May not even be in person, it could be in the midst of the campaign over a phone call. Will that not put this entire issue to rest? But obviously they don't want to do it because it helps to spread these kind of stories and say, oh, they'll take away all your money, your Mangal Sutra will be snatched away and all that. Is helpful to create that fear in the minds of the people. Why? Please answer this question for me. Why can you not clarify? I'm not even going to go down the same things we've been discussing for the past 2 weeks. What did Dr. Manmohan Singh say? Muslims are actually been given reservation because they are backward classes. They are not being given reservation on the basis of religion. I can go on and on and on, but that's not the point. The point is, here is something that you need clarity on. You believe it is going to be in a particular way.
Yeah.
Why? One second. No, I have not interrupted you, sir, please. So my point is, first, tomorrow or whenever at the earliest opportunity, let them have a phone call. Let Mr. Kharge say, I have explained this is what is in our manifesto. They have clarified there is no proposal to bring in inheritance tax. Again, what Sam Pitroda has said in an interview is obviously more binding on the Congress party than what the Congress president is saying. I mean, it is very sad, Anand,
So,
that again, and anyway, this demonizing
see, I'm very tempted. I'm very tempted. I'm very tempted to make a very small observation. It's not as long as your Sumant C. Raman, but before that, Anand Ranganathan wanted to intervene. Yes, Anand.
Yeah, I have great regard for my good friend Dr. Sumant Raman, but I wasn't expecting him to shift the goalpost so drastically. I asked a simple question: is it true or is it not that Rahul Gandhi has promised a wealth survey? So, before that survey is conducted on every Indian, do you feel or do you not feel? Simple question. Should Rahul Gandhi have conducted that? No, please don't interrupt. Answer the question. Don't deflect. should
will
Rahul
answer.
Gandhi
Allow me to answer.
should Rahul Gandhi have conducted the wealth survey of his family? Yes or no?
Rahul Gandhi has said that a wealth survey will be done. The government of India has a very good idea of how much
Is the wealth survey?
which
No,
individual
I have
already
no.
said.
Just park this. Let's just park this. I just want to ask Sumant Siraman, is a wealth survey mentioned in the Congress manifesto?
Look, they have
Just answer the
No.
just answer the question. Is a wealth survey
They
mentioned?
have-
Yes or no,
they
sir?
have spoken-
Is a
yes, they have spoken of a survey.
is
Yes,
an
but
X-ray?
correct.
Is an X-ray mentioned in the?
X-ray? No, X-ray is not. X-ray is
X-ray.
not. Survey is mentioned. One minute,
Is
one
inheritance
minute.
is inheritance tax is
No.
inheritance?
No.
So
inheritance
so
tax
then
is
who
not
should
mentioned
first
there.
read and understand the
Sir,
Congress
taking
manifesto?
away- Taking away your
Who should
Mangal
first
Sutra
read and
giving it to
understand the
Muslims
Congress
is
man?
not mentioned.
No, but who
Taking
should
away your Mangal
who
Sutra
should
and
who
giving
should
it
then
to
first
Muslims is
read
not mentioned.
who should then first read the Congress manifesto? Sam Pitroda, Kaushik Basu, and Rahul Gandhi or Narendra
No.
Modi? That's why I'm saying, because the Prime Minister is reacting to
You
Sam
have
Pitroda,
to-
Kaushik Basu, Rahul Gandhi, and the
I
Congress
didn't know-
manifesto
I didn't
and
know
the Congress
when
manifesto. I'm just saying.
became-
No, 1 minute. So
Overrules the Congress president.
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know Sam
sir,
Petroda
in
was
Congress
the
party,
person
in
charge of
Congress
the
party, in Congress party, from the time that piece of paper, the ordinance was torn, everyone, there are certain people who are allowed to overrule the others, and it's
No, but
democratic.
here is
sir,
the
that way.
Congress-
Ajay Alok,
Congress
1 minute,
president-
Ajay
You haven't
Alok.
answered my
Prime
question.
Minister
Why
has,
didn't he take up the
Prime Minister
Why
has
didn't
not,
he give
now
up the
yield,
appointment?
Prime Minister, sir, I said let some other people also understand the manifesto, and if this is what the manifesto actually means, then those people also need to understand the manifesto, because there's no X-ray mentioned, right? So why was the X-ray used? तुम्हारा पैसा उठा के उसको दे देंगे, तुम्हारा पैसा तुमको लूटा जा रहा है. Is it written in the Congress manifesto?
Explain to the people.
Now, why
Come on,
is
every word
minorities
is not in the
is
manifesto.
minorities clearly explained in the Congress manifesto? Let me ask a lot of
Yes,
questions.
it is.
1 minute. No, it's
Yes,
not.
it
Sir.
is.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
Who are
Yes, it
minorities
is.
is not explained. Who are minorities is not explained. And
Who are
the
minorities
minorities is
already
the
in
word
the
minorities
Constitution.
is the word minorities openly being used in place of Muslims only. That's
told-
also not been clearly explained. But Ajay Alok,
Then that's all
Prime
the more
Minister,
reason to
1
give an
minute, please
appointment
yield.
to Mr. Kharge.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has not understood the Congress manifesto. That's the charge. Please go ahead.
Get it clarified.
First
Now,
of
please
all,
don't interrupt.
if
Yeah.
you talk of
Ajay.
policy and if you talk of Rahul Gandhi, it itself is a matter subject to joke. Because to understand a policy and you expect from a handicapped person climbing the mountain, the same case is with the Rahul Gandhi. So Rahul Gandhi does what he is being tutored. So he said about redistribution of tax, wealth tax and all those things. Now see, you have to understand the basic crux. Prime Minister and we as a BJP, we understand what's their intention is, whom they are addressing their manifesto to. Very clearly in equity section point 1, they say first a socio-economic census, apart from caste census, and then an authority to distribute first the government land and then the surplus land taken from the people by according to the Land Ceiling Act, which is there mentioned in the how it can be done. It can be only done by making law. What right now
Affirmative action.
he was mentioning that to ensure affirmative, will ensure. How will you ensure? By making laws. Now in the minority section, again they say, we will ensure minority receive their share. How they are going to ensure it? And what do you mean by share? Except by making law, by changing the policy.
Who,
That's
who
why I
are
say
minorities? Who are
Rahul Gandhi
minorities?
and policy.
Who are
It's a two
minorities? Does the Congress party
As per
recognize me?
Manmohan Singh,
Does the
as per-
Congress party
yes, yes.
recognize me as a minority in Uttar Pradesh? I am a linguistic minority. Am I going to be
You are a
exempt?
linguistic
So
minority.
do they recognize linguistic?
No,
minority?
Congress party
Sir,
doesn't recognize.
Does the Congress party
doesn't
recognize me?
you.
Recognize
For
me
them,
as a minority? As a minority?
see,
as
Anand.
a minority, if I am a resident of Jammu and
not
Kashmir?
at all. Not at all, not at all. Let me complete, Anand. Let
Who's
me
the
complete.
minority,
And
sir?
Mr. Raman, please listen to what I am
This
saying.
Raman,
I know
yeah.
you are not going to agree to it. For right from the beginning and since the inception of this country, since India came into existence, for them the minority was only Muslims. And if you don't believe me, please go through Manmohan Singh video in 2009 where he clearly says minority, and I mean Muslim minority. Muslims, particularly Muslims. So for them, the minority is only Muslims. What to say more? Today I'm talking of today. Today in Telangana, while addressing a rally, the Telangana minister, his name is
Revant Reddy.
Kumalla Nageshwar Rao. He was
Nageshwar
standing
Rao.
just beside Renuka Chaudhary, and he clearly said Congress doesn't need Hindu votes for victory. For them now, this is the new form of the Congress Muslim League, surrounded by the leftist. What the word you coined for them, and writer what Rahul Srishankar coined for them, this is actually the truth.
Bolshevikism, yeah.
So as a responsible political party and the Prime Minister of the country, the Prime Minister needs to tell the people that look what is there in the manifesto. This is what they are going to do if they are going to come into the power, and they have already shown it that we can do it. And they have done it in Karnataka by taking all the Muslim.
Do you agree? Do you agree with this, Ghanshyam?
I mean,
Ghanshyam,
this is not what the country stands
let
for.
Let me just ask Ghanshyam Tiwari. So, do you agree with this entire inheritance? So, whatever Mulayam Singh has left for Akhilesh Yadav will be taken away, survey will be done, and will be redistributed. And that too, from community to community, individual to individual, will be taken and redistributed. And do you agree or disagree with the fact that the Congress manifesto is heavily laced against the Hindus for the Muslims? Taken from here, given there.
Good evening, Anand, to you, the viewers and fellow co-panelists. I'll start from where BJP spokesperson Ajay Alok, Dr. Ajay Alok left, Karnataka. Does anybody know a man, Modi ka parivar, called Prajal Revanna? Did the Prime Minister speak about him? The man ran away. The man that Karnataka has awakened to a man that is being presented as a monster. A case has been registered. The entire BJP, entire media is silent. I am ashamed that the Prime Minister did not mention it in his Karnataka rally. I am ashamed that he was not questioned about it.
Karnataka has your government.
I did not interrupt anybody. Please allow me to complete.
Yeah.
So you are changing goalposts. The question is something else, and you are answering X. The question is why.
The people, Bharatiya Janata Party, calling themselves Ram, or जो राम को लाए हैं, from Uttar Pradesh, Brajbhushan Sharan Singh to Revanna, ये राम को लाए हैं या रावण को लाए हैं? People of Karnataka will answer, daughters of Karnataka will answer. The head of every Indian hangs in shame because we see pictures of Prime Minister Modi and
this is classic rhetoric, nothing else. Please answer the specific question if you can.
Ajay, he has a right to speak. Let him speak. Let him make his point.
Who was allowed to run away in midnight, and our heads hang in shame. Even as opposition party spokesperson, my head hangs in shame. And the more Ajay Alok heckles me, the more it is a common shame to all of us. Now coming to your question, here are two photographs I want to show. Here is the man who is the richest man in the Modi cabinet. He ranked 596 in the Hurun list. His total wealth as per the Hurun list was 1400 crores. Apparently, he has a 120 crore property in London. Does Ajay Alok and Anand, do you know how much tax he paid? 680 rupees. This is your answer to the question.
This is even I must come in.
I did not interrupt. Here is the report that Indian Express published. With respect to, I don't understand. Anand Ranganathan, can you please wait for your turn?
So why have you brought me in, Ghanshyam?
Please allow me to complete. What is this nonsense? I did not interrupt you.
Please maintain your
here is the list
civility.
of World Inequality Report that talks about how 10,000 people in India, their average wealth is 2,200 crores. And 50% of India, the average wealth, not income, 1,73,000 crores. Does anybody on this panel have an objection if these 10,000 people whose average wealth is 2,200 crores and the next 1 lakh people whose average wealth is 300 crores, if that wealth is taxed and given to those poor people whose average wealth is 1,73,000 crores?
You know, this...
No, sir. This is a lopsided argument.
So let the charity begin from the home, no?
One minute.
Let the charity begin from home. That's what Anand was saying.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Those who do
Ghanshyam Tiwari, you are an educationist. You're highly educated. For making a political argument, can you believe what you're saying? You are saying that somebody who's created wealth should be taxed because that person has created wealth. You are faulting a person for creating wealth. How can you fault a person? No, sir. Whoever it is, sir.
If 680 rupees in tax.
No. My point.
Anand Ranganathan and Ajay Alok and
my point is, sir. My point is. My point is.
Go and distribute your property first. Then come and give lectures here.
Ghanshyam Tiwari, if you are saying that sir, then I'll tell you there are people who have got far much more wealth and they have labelled themselves as farmers. Are you willing to? Are you willing to tax all farmers, sir? Are you open? Are you a spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party saying every tax person, every farmer who's got land holding more than 20 acres, every tax person who's earning more than 25 lakh rupees per annum should be brought under the tax racket? There are farmers in this country. There are farmers in this country who are sitting on wealth more than 1,000 crores. Should they be taxed or not? Should their wealth be taken or not? Ghanshyam Tiwari answer. Ghanshyam Tiwari answer. Ghanshyam Tiwari answer. There are farmers. Why don't we take the? Why don't we take the? No. Why don't we take? No. Ghanshyam Tiwari. Why don't we take the money of those rich farmers of Punjab who are sitting on nearly 8,000 crores of wealth? Why don't we redistribute that wealth among the poor farmers of Punjab? Let's start from there. Are you okay?
I said,
sir,
I'll
show you the picture of a person who was sitting there in Ghazipur, blocking the roads for nearly 1 year, sir, asking for justice for the Kisan. And that person has got nearly 600 crores worth of wealth, sir. He owns 7 petrol pumps. Should his wealth be taken away and should it be redistributed to those people who don't even have 2 bighas zameen?
Please allow me to answer you. Please don't heckle. I did not heckle
I'm asking you. So what kind of logic are you presenting, sir? You try and pick up people who are convenient to you politically, but you steer clear of those people who are sitting right beside you in your own party. In your own party, sir. In your own party. No, Ghanshyam Tiwari. You are supposed to raise the standard of the debate, not totally bring down the entire level of discourse, sir. I am very disappointed today, and I want to qualify this. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I have a lot of respect for you, sir. But what you did tonight, lowers the level of the debate. First, sir, start at home. Are you saying that Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, his wealth should be declared, not a single naya paisa of tax? Every single person who's owning, who has income of more than 1,000 crores declared themselves as a no, sir. Don't try and say shame. You have to look at your own argument, sir. I don't want to engage this further, Ghanshyam Tiwari. I do not want to engage this further, sir. I am asking you, sir, will you take the same level, same barometer for every farmer who does not pay a single naya paisa of income tax, wants every single subsidy, they want to increase the subsidies, they don't want to pay price of diesel, but they will continue to pocket hundreds of crores at the cost of the poor farmers. Take a position there also, sir. Take a position there also, Ghanshyam Tiwari. You will not. Rashid Kidwai, let's bring back some sanity onto the debate and coming back to you. So, has the Congress party been economical with the truth with respect to the manifesto? Has the Prime Minister called them out? Where do you stand?
Thank you, Anand. I think first of all about taxing farmers, I am all for it. Mr. Modi has not done it for 10 years. Same applies to the fact that we are a socialist country. It's written in the preamble of Constitution. I know, Anand, you have a view on it, but the government of the day has not done to change it. Same applies to the word secularism, which is part of the Constitution and preamble. Fact of the matter, it's a really unfortunate and it's a pity that today we are talking about Dr. Manmohan Singh in the context of wealth tax, reservations, giving so-called some kind of concession to minorities. He was the biggest, source and a person, architect of economic reform that resulted in wealth creation by the entrepreneurs, and everybody, including this particular present regime, is benefiting from the schemes that were initiated in 1991 onwards. Instead of that, what we are telling Dr. Manmohan Singh that he was wrong. Did he implement such a committee report? Was there any reservation for minorities or Muslims? Let me please complete.
Rashidji, I'm just 10 seconds, sir.
You're talking about reservations.
The Prime Minister has quoted what Dr. Manmohan Singh continued to hold as a point of view between 2006 and 2009.
You have a point of view that...
and he very clearly elucidated. Here is the important point. Rashidji, here's the important point in Dr. Manmohan Singh's verdict. There he said, if they are poor, poor is a very important clause which in no Congress government has been implemented. When they announced these quotas for the Muslims also, they mentioned the caste, but they never mentioned economy, or the socio-economic aspect was never mentioned. It was only the caste, only the community. So, sir, that's the game that the Congress has played. But yes, please complete.
So what I'm saying is, successive governments in Karnataka, including BJP government, continued to give reservation to minorities who were economically backward. The same applies to Nitish Kumar government. This present government, Modi government, I can give a list of 1,000 instances where they are supporting and funding madrasa education. They are supporting Hajj pilgrimage. They are supporting minority scholarships. They are running, National Minorities Commission, National Linguistic, Commission, all sorts of institutions. The government of the day takes, tremendous pride in, that the beneficiaries of Prime Minister Awas Yojana and several.
So you agree, sir, that
large
there is
number
caste
of
system.
minority-
So Rashid ji, so you agree
No, no,
that there is
I am
open
saying there is no
casteism.
need to
There is
be-
casteism.
No, no.
There is casteism among Muslims. There is casteism among Christians. So caste is not a Hindu game. You agree openly. So then
is
that
not
narrative
Hindu
is
or
wrong.
Muslim. You see-
No. So you just said caste
Anand-
among Muslims. So that means Muslims are also
No, I am
playing
saying the
elitists.
poorer. I
Muslims
didn't
are also
mention about caste.
Ashraf
I
and
said the poorer. I said
Pasmanda.
economically
How-
poor.
no,
Don't put words in my mouth.
no, sir.
I said
They have been
economically poor.
they have been classified under backward castes and 16 separate
Yes,
sects
so
and
the
castes of
government did
Muslims
it.
have been
Mumbai government
identified.
did it.
So
Mumbai government
no,
at the
Bombay
back
government
end of
did not
the
do it,
tenure
sir. Bombay
movement.
government abolished it. Abolished the 4%
Abolished
deficit.
when?
The Bombay government took it away, sir. The Mumbai
Anand,
government.
when did they do it? On
It has
the
been
eve of
brought back
election?
now. It has
I
been
mean,
brought
please,
back now. It has
see,
been
you
brought back
try
now.
to understand.
Sir, what I'm trying to say is, you openly admit that Muslims are also equally casteist, that Christians are also
I'm not
casteist.
saying that. Not saying it. I am saying that
either they are
for
casteist or
Muslims-
they are not. If they are not casteist, then they should not get a caste quota. If they want the caste quota, then they should openly admit that they are openly, brazenly casteist and elitist, as the whole narrative is against Hindus, that Hinduism is casteist. No, but then if you want a caste quota, then you admit that Islam or Muslims are also casteist. If you want the same quota for Christians, say. If on the one hand you are saying there is
I
Dalit
am not
Christian
saying-
church,
I am
on
not
the other
saying-
hand
I
you
am
are saying
not a visionary
Christianity is
like
not
you.
casteist.
I am not a visionary like you. I
am asking, sir, Andhra Pradesh 16 sects of Islam, all Muslims are not clarified. They are classified. How are?
I am telling you the practically.
No, I am telling you practically, sir. Rashid ji, practically in the Andhra Pradesh, in Andhra Pradesh, it is 14 categories, 14 sects amongst Muslims that are categorized. Not all Muslims broad brush. So that means Muslims are also casteist then. If they are not casteist, then they should not be part of that.
All reservations are based on caste.
So that means you are saying that Muslims are also casteist.
No. Muslims are getting reservation on the basis of their economic status.
No, sir. Where is the economic status mentioned for anybody? Economic status is only under 10% EWS quota. Then how are you saying that all reservations are based on caste? Then you accept that Muslims are also casteist. Then let's bury this argument altogether once and for all.
Anand, can I
You're
clarify?
not accepting
Ajay
the
Alok,
basic
Ajay
thing.
Alok.
I am saying
No.
government of the day is. I am making a simple
See,
point.
Anand,
that the
whatever you
government of the
argue
day
with
Clarify that.
Rashid,
See, there are backward
I'm telling you,
classes,
these
but
people
class is
just
equal to
pick up
caste
their
in our
convenience.
constitution. There is supposed to be no
These
allocation
people-
of quota on the basis of religion as per the constitution.
Are we a secular
Then-
country?
Yeah. Ajay Alok.
You're absolutely right. There's no place for reservation in the basis of religion. But problem with this neo-leftist, I know what you say, urban Naxals, is that they pick up things according to their convenience. When it comes to Muslims, all Muslims becomes backward, whether they are Pathan, whether they are Sheikh, or whether they are thing. Like what we have seen in Karnataka. When Bombay government abolished 4%, they went to the court against that. Again, it was put on hold. And the moment this Congress government came, there was a Section B introduced, which is there
Sir,
under the
is there
review right
quota
now,
for
and the
Muslims?
questions are being raised.
No. Is
That
there
all the
quota for
Muslim
Muslims in
community-
Gujarat?
And
Is there quota for
classic-
Muslims in Gujarat? Is there
The
quota?
classic-
Is there quota? Has this quota been continued successive under BJP governments in Karnataka? Is it in
Yes.
the BJP's manifesto
Yes.
that you will do it away if it comes to power in Andhra Pradesh? Is there any commitment under the
it's there
BJP's
in our
manifesto that
manifesto.
it
It's there
will
in our
not, it
manifesto.
will do away with quota for any
It's-
non-Hindu under the caste quotas or under backward class or OBC? Is it there,
It's
sir?
not
Or
a
have you
matter of
raised it
Hindu.
only now?
It's there in our manifesto. It's not a matter of Hindu or Muslims. We are
Caste तो
against
सिर्फ
the
हिंदुओं में है ना,
quota
sir?
on the name of religion because it's not there in the constitution.
Caste to sirf Hinduओं में,
They are
isn't
not
that the
being-
narrative?
they are
not there in the
being
constitution.
Only
given-
Hindus are casteist, right?
Whether Hindu or Muslim, that doesn't make a
again-
difference.
No, but if some then
The
let's
entire
let's
reservation
bury
system,
this
they are-
argument
they are trying to
altogether.
change the
Then say in
narrative.
India, irrespective of what panth you follow, that means what religion you follow, everybody is casteist. Because then caste exists across the spectrum. Then
It is
kill
there
this
already
entire
in Mandal
casteist
Commission.
narrative.
In Mandal, if you go to the para section 12 of the Mandal Commission, the Muslims, which comes under the backward category, it's clearly mentioned. Why they are not
No,
putting
one
that into
second.
place? Because
One
when it
second.
comes to Muslims,
so then
all
openly-
Muslims are same. There is
Anand
no caste in the
Ranganathan,
Muslims.
here is my
That's
thing.
what they try to give.
Either the Abrahamic religions are
also.
equal, look
Reservation
at
for the full
everybody
Muslims.
equally, that narrative is false. that the entire conversion game narrative is false. They are equally casteist. We want caste quota because we are casteist.
No, one
Let
second.
everybody agree that.
Abs-
Anand Ranganathan,
Anand,
coming to you, Sumadri.
absolutely, Anand. But before I come to this, can I please make a very quick comment on my good friend Ghanshyam? I have to, because it's almost as if, to paraphrase someone, Ghanshyam came, Ghanshyam spread fake news, and Ghanshyam went. I hope he's still lingering around. I
Yes.
have to say,
No, he's not. He's not.
He's gone. But the kind of fake news
Have
that
to
he
wind up.
spread is just astonishing. Let me give you two examples. Shamika Ravi, an acclaimed economist, has just published a remarkable data point, which is if you look at the bottom 50% of Indian population and the share of the national income that they have, from 2004 to 2014 saw the steepest decline from 19% to 15%. And now, in the last 10 years, it has actually started to climb up. It is about 15% now, from 14% to 15%. So to say that Modi has led to this income inequality is totally wrong. Number two, if you look at Gini coefficient, that's what I'm saying. These guys, God knows where he got his education from. They don't look at data. If you look at Gini coefficient in the last 10 years, it has actually reduced from 0.47 to 0.40, and the lesser the Gini coefficient, the more equality there is, the lesser inequality there is. Thirdly, when he's talking of wealth redistribution, अपने गिरबान में झांक के देखो, Mr. Akhilesh Yadav and his wife have combined assets of 45 crore rupees. Let them redistribute it first.
Well, everybody, none of the people generally like to practice what they preach. That's one aspect. But this entire game that's being played with the respect to religion and caste is a very dangerous cocktail. This caste community and quota cocktail is very, very dangerous. And this one, and is each picking it up based on their political convenience. The jury is out there. The interview is also out there. We request everybody to have a look at it. I've really, Sumant Ramanji, we'll carry this forward into Monday. That's a promise. We've run out of time for the moment. Thank you very, very much.